Hi viewer, welcome to another episode of Kenya's Centers of Academicians and Diverse-Oriented Research. At KCADOR we say investing in the brain. So we hope that in this episode you're going to be able to invest in your brain and be able to make your life better as a parent, your life better as a student, so that you can be able to actually invest in the brain. And today I've got a special guest. Maybe most of you have know him, but I'm sure that some of you have never actually been able to see him. So I want to invite Dr. Kiyeng. Please, can you be able to say to the viewers and maybe you can tell us something about yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much, viewers, and welcome. I'm Kiyeng Wilfred, the regional consultant of the Kenya Centers of Academicians and the Diverse-Oriented Research, KCADOR. That is a mentor organization committed to journeying with academic institutions towards achieving a success culture where talent, career, and academic excellence take center stage. This is a screencast program TSS8, and welcome.
Thank you so much. And dear viewers, today we are, in the last 10 years, Kenya Centers of Academicians has been working with different schools. I cannot be able to really count the number, but you can tell how many schools we've worked with in the last 10 years. And in this year's working with students, we've received multiple questions that actually challenge students in schools. And today I want us to be able to dive into some of those questions that can be able to answer, because maybe you've asked these questions to us when you visited your school, or maybe these are just questions that you've been having in your heart. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the common questions that students have been asking us in terms of performance. Okay, and Dr. I want to start with the first question. One of our students asked us, why is it that I work very hard? When I'm preparing for exams, I study very hard. And I even feel that like I understand. But when the exam comes, the results are very different. I don't see my hard work reflected in the final results. Why is it like that?
Yeah, thank you, Simon. I believe that that is a very important question to many students who are listening to us, and even to parents and even teachers, that surely there are many students who feel that their hard work and their results is not proportional.
Sure.
Is not directly proportional. We send our children to school and we tell them work hard, and when you work hard you succeed. In fact, in most of the schools you realize that their motto or slogan is hard work pays.
Exactly.
So now these learners go to school knowing that hard work pays, but when they work hard and the hard work that they are put in does not pay, they get frustrated.
Sure.
I've had so many students ask me the same question, and that was the leading question asked by many students, most of the students last year.
Exactly.
And to answer that question, I would say this. That, dear student, you will continue to have that same problem forever if you will not understand something called Pareto principle. And Pareto principle states that 80% of whatever happens is a result of 20% of its causes. That for most effects, 80% of what happens, or of those effects, result from 20% of their causes. And so when you understand the 80-20% rule, then you can be able to read and study and master content in the areas that will lead you to master content everywhere. I would wish to say that there are areas that are more important than others. And so the major problem with these learners is that they don't understand Pareto principle, and so they don't know how to do things. Their problem is not really what, but their problem is how. So there is the question of how to do and what to do. When you ask students to tell you what they are supposed to do for them to do well in an exam, they will give you.
Yeah.
They will tell you. They will list 100 reasons to tell you what they should do for them to succeed. But surely you realize that they know, but they cannot do them, or they do them, but they cannot achieve what they want, because the problem is not what, the problem is how. So we talk of the howness problem. And that, coming to that, I would want to say this kind of learner needs to be mentored in things like, for example, how to study. For example, how to, the methods of study, learning styles. And when they discover those learning styles and how to do things and where to do it and how to do it, then definitely they will master content and they will do well.
Thank you so much, Dr. So what you're saying is that actually there's a method. And the reason why you actually fail is because you're probably studying the 80% that does not contribute 20%. I mean, you're probably taking your time in the 80% of the content that does not contribute to the exam.
Well, we not exactly because actually we do not want to say that there are areas that are more important than others in terms of mastering content. But definitely when it comes to methodology,
yes,
how to do things, where to do, when and how.
Yes.
So there is the question what, when, and how.
Yes.
Those are very important. So I would say that students must understand there is something called a method, study method, and 80% of our schools have not invested in methodology.
Yes.
And that is why 80% of schools do 80% to get 20%.
Yes.
While 20% of the schools do 20% to get 80%. And it is the 20% of the schools that will finally succeed. And these 80% of schools who have not invested in methodology, who have not invested in learning styles, who have not invested in mentors who can really journey with them, you see, they also carry the 80% of the students.
Yes.
And you realize that those students who are asking such questions actually have that kind of a problem because they have never been helped. As I said earlier, everyone is telling the student to work hard.
Yes.
But they are not telling them how to work hard.
Or on what to work hard.
Yes, and on what to work hard.
Yes.
So, and when to work hard on this and not the other one.
Wow.
Yes.
So, just to summarize on that question, Daktari, we want our students to know that Kenya Centers of Academicians has actually developed a method whereby they can be able to do Pareto content survey. That's all. A way to be able to analyze the content, be able to find out where are you supposed to be spending more time in your studies. That's all.
Yes, the Kenya Centers of Academicians as a program,
yes,
as a package for students and even especially for schools,
yes,
which is supposed to really journey with the learner, realize that the Kenya Centers of Academicians is not a motivational organization.
Yes.
It's a mentor organization. Mentor organization in that we journey with the learner right from the first month to the last month of the year.
Yes.
And when we begin with the school, the first thing we need to do is to conduct what we call PCS. PCS means Pareto Content Survey. Realize that I said Pareto principle. And so Pareto Content Survey is an exam, is a test actually,
yes,
that finds out the 20% of the areas that are more important to be focused so that the class, the student can be able to focus on these areas at a particular time.
Exactly.
As I would say, a Form 4, a student who is in Form 4, who is beginning a Form 4 class and beginning to prepare for national exams, should not study like a Form 1.
Exactly.
Yeah, you should not be like a Form 1. A Form 4 should study differently.
Exactly.
They should be able to change their study methods. They should be able to focus now on most important areas. But they cannot just do this.
Yes.
Because surely, what I'm telling you right now is not taught in teacher colleges or in the universities where we train teachers to become teachers.
Yes.
So they are not taught. And so it is important that the schools also use experts.
Exactly.
That ask experts to come and support them. Most of the time, you realize that even our schools do not really have the time to do that. But they really need to accommodate experts, because you can never be everything.
Exactly.
So that they can come and be able to help these learners. So Pareto content survey is the first stage, and then the second stage where they move to now participating in what they call Socratic exchange, exchange learning programs, and at the end of the year they will even participate in Socratic conferences.
Now, before we talk about those other programs, I want to jump to a question that was asked by a student in Ego Marakwet County.
Yes.
And she was, actually a girl was asking that I study hard, like the first question, but for her, is that she forgets as soon as she finishes reading the topic.
Yes.
What's the problem?
Methodology problem.
Okay.
Method problem. I will want you to understand that the mind is just like a store. If you, I've written a book somewhere and I've said the allegory of the store, the store where you put things. So what do you put in a store? That is the question. And the store would store many things. It would store harvests from land and from it would store tools.
Yes.
It would store even machines and many other things.
Yes.
But what can you imagine of a mind that is a store that has stored everything in the same kind of one part where you put everything? When you put in a store, you put tools, you put machines, you put maize, you put beans, you put everything together.
Yes.
Even when you want to look for something, you can never get it easily.
It's true.
It's like the student logger. I've also talked about the student logger, the way you can put your things in a logger. The allegory of the student logger, and realize that sometimes students put everything there.
Yes.
The pens, the books, some people even put a plate, and everything, they are intact there. And when the teacher comes and wants to teach Kiswahili, for example, the student does not find Kiswahili book. What he will find is mathematics textbook, and he will be forced to write that book, to write Kiswahili in mathematics text exercise book. So there is information. What he wants at that particular moment is not there. It is the same thing to the brain, to the mind. You need to store information well. We have what you call audio information, visual information, tactile information, analytic information, and global information. And that is why we talk about the 5 learner types. According to the way we are made, according to the way we are, according to the way we are fashioned by God, we are different.
Sure.
And in the mind, we have the analytic mind, analytic memory, global memory, audio memory, and like that. As you receive information, there is a way you store information that is audio.
Exactly.
And so when the student does not understand all this, when the student does not understand the learner styles, the learner types, now we talk about the learner types, the audio learners, visual, global, analytic, and tactile. All these are important for a student to understand. I am not saying that they should really begin to study about learner types. But we need to assist learners understand that they are different. They are different from another student.
Exactly.
They are unique to understand about their own appropriate study methods. And we talk about appropriate learning styles. When they understand that they are able to read content and be able to consume the information, then be able to take this information to the right to where it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
And they will never forget. So students forget because of methodology problem.
Yes.
They have no methods. They just go to the book and read. Actually, 80% of students who do not perform well in exam have problems with reading culture.
Wow.
And we talk about reading culture as the main enemy.
So because this, yes, maybe you experience the same problem. Not because you're actually stupid, but that you can't understand is because you've not understood your learner type. That's very, thank you so much, Dr. for that. So actually it's not your fault, okay? Maybe you've been blaming yourself, but it's not your fault. It's because you have not yet been taught about your learner type.
And as you say, it's not their fault. I'm one person who believes in the student.
Yes.
I believe, and that is why the Kenya Centers of Academicians program is learner-centered.
Yes.
That there is no human being who wishes to fail.
Sure.
That so to students, they are human beings.
Yes.
And if you ask anyone, what do you want? I mean, do you want to live do you want to visit a 5-star hotel, or do you want to just visit any hotel? You know, they will say they want to go to the 5-star.
Yes.
You know, you ask a student, do they want to, somebody, do you want to earn like 100,000 per month or 10,000? You will go for 100,000. So what happens is, everyone, Socrates, Socrates says that we are all inclined, and even Plato, they all say that we are all inclined towards the good, and everyone wishes to become good.
Yes.
Even the student. No student wishes to fail.
Yes.
Ask a student what they want, and they will tell you A's. They will want A's.
Sure.
They will want to go to the best universities, but they need help.
Yeah.
They need help because their desire is not to fail,
yes,
but to succeed. But when they do not succeed, as much as they are working hard, they get frustrated.
Yes.
When they get frustrated, they lose hope. And now that is where we have the indiscipline. We have students not following instructions. We have students who have lost hope in a particular school.
Wow. Situations and realize that so you can be able to make it, despite the fact that you feel that you cannot be able to make it. Now, I want to ask a question that has been coming to us over and over again over the years. And someone asked us, how do I understand my talent? Okay, because there's always a disconnect between studying and the talents that you get, and also the career. Okay, because you're told that do what you love, and the rest will just follow. Okay, but then is that my talent? Is that my career? How can I be able to identify that?
Yeah, thank you, Simon. There are ways that we can be able to identify our talents, discover our talents. The first thing we need to ask ourselves is, what is a talent?
Okay,
and of course, talents are like the ability. We refer to those kind of skills or abilities that we just have, that we naturally have. We don't force ourselves to really do. We don't force ourselves to do those things, but we realize that we just it happens that we know them.
exactly.
We like them. We love them. We are passionate about them. And that is one way of knowing that your talent, because if you have these things that you are passionate about and you just like doing them, you are not forced to do them. You can do certain things very well. Like some people find themselves drawing. They just like drawing and they come up with beautiful drawings. Some people find themselves singing. They are in a church and they say, can someone lead us with a song? They are raising their hands. They want to sing. Some students are very good in computers. They just want to have these gadgets. They just want to go to the computers and do certain things in the computer. Talents speak out.
Yes.
They speak out. They come, they force themselves out from us.
Yes.
But of course, there is the other way. There is the other way, which is very appropriate, and I would even advise everyone to really do it, that you need an expert. For you to really understand yourself, you need an expert. And I've always said, use the expert to really solve most of the problems that you have. This is, we have an exam or a test called PCAT.
Yes.
PCAT means Personality and Career Inclination Test. Personality and Career Inclination Test can help you realize, number one, your career cluster.
Exactly.
You know, we have career clusters. We talk about the global, the realistic careers, the social careers, the investigative careers. So you can get, oh, I belong to the investigative career when you do the test.
Yes.
This is not an exam. This is not an academic exam. It is a PCAT test. It is not connected to, it's not math, it's not English. This is career test. This is what we call PCAT test. Actually conducted by the Kenya Centers of Academicians.
Wow.
And secondly, you will discover something else. You will discover when you do the test. You discover what you call your learner type. Learner type, career cluster, and learner type.
Yes.
So when you combine the two, one of course, the learner type will help you do well in examination because you understand your learner type. I'm audio, I'm visual, I'm tactile, I'm analytic, I'm global. When you do that, then you can be able to choose your learning style. But now, when you understand your career cluster, then now you are able to make choices about what you want. I say, oh, I'm investigative career learner type. I belong to investigative. Oh, I can become a lawyer.
Yes.
Oh, I can become an engineer. That is when you do that.
Yes.
So for this, you need an expert. You need a talent expert, or you need a career expert. You need KCADOR. You need the Kenya Centers of Academicians. Actually, we can be able to help such learners be able to discover who they are. Because when they discover who they are, they discover math. When they discover math, they do well in exam. Yes.
No, Dr. Let me ask, talking about that, just briefly, in maybe 1 minute you can tell us about this.
Yes.
There's always a clash between the talent aspect and the career. I may discover my talent and realize that I'm very good in singing. But my parents think that there's no career in music. Okay? Oh, my talent is art. I tell my parents, I want to go and do art. They're like, man, I mean, you're going to shame us. So what does KCADOR do to help students in that situation?
Yeah, one thing about KCADOR is it understands that 98% of Kenyans find themselves in misplaced careers.
Yes.
That is what we understand. I would say, so that I don't look like I'm I'm putting this on the extreme, I would say that 85 to 98% of Kenyans find themselves in misplaced careers.
Yes.
And the reason for this is it has been contributed by all of us. The society is contributing in all this. Parents, teachers, even the students themselves. Of course, the parents need support, need to be supported, need to be helped, need to be mentored.
Sure.
Because we have those kind of jobs in our minds, or professions, or careers in our minds, which we think when you become that, you become successful.
Sure.
So most of our parents, maybe for example, some of them think like, for example, when the student studies medicine, then they are successful. Or when they become engineers, they are successful. When you ask children in class 1, almost 80% will go only for 3 major careers.
No?
Which, yes, you can name them.
Yes.
And they think that is where success is, which is very wrong.
Exactly.
Success is not in the career, success is in you. Success is not in the career, success is in you. We can ask ourselves, are doctors the richest people? If that is what you want, if money is what you want, never. There are even teachers who are richer than doctors.
Sure.
I mean, there are photographers who are richer than engineers.
Exactly.
There are businessmen and women who are richer than lawyers.
Sure.
So it's not about the career. It is about you. It's about your passion. So parents should really come to the realization that it is not about certain careers.
Sure.
We need to allow the child to grow. We need to understand the child, and we need to support the children according to their passions.
Well, let me jump to another question that came from all the way from Nandi County, and this student was asking, every time I get to the exam room, I get paralyzed by fear. They're scared, they're sweaty all over, and not able to focus. What is the cause of that?
Let me say this. Most of the things that we fear don't happen.
Okay.
Most of the 90% or even 95% of the things that we fear never happen. So sometimes you fear and you think that certain things will happen. You see, fear is the expectation.
Yes.
That certain things that you don't want may happen to you when you do certain things.
Sure.
But it's important for a student, for example, to realize that most of these things that they fear can never contribute to their success.
Okay.
Especially fearing to do the right thing. There was a time when we asked a student asked a question. He raised the hand, and asked a question. And when he asked the question, everyone in the class later on admitted that they also had the same problem.
Sure.
And the student now, after listening to other students now saying that they also had the same problem, he said that surely he was fearing to ask the question because he thought everyone else knew the answer. And so you realize that it is not about what other people know.
Exactly.
When we are asking questions, it's not about what other people know, it's about what I don't know.
Exactly.
So when you fear other people, when you fear what others will say, you will not be solving a problem.
Sure.
Now, fear is something that can be eradicated through practice. Fear is an habit.
Yes.
Fear is something that comes in you and becomes part of you. But you see, everyone has fear.
Yes.
Even the president, before he speaks to people, there is some element of fear.
Exactly.
So everyone. And so we should understand it's something normal. But of course, with practice, when you ask a question, when you answer a question, when you speak your mind, you realize that fear will disappear. But I want to say something about fear. Fear is something which is almost, I would say, it's an evil thing.
Yeah.
Of course, we say fear is the absence of something, yes?
Yes.
It's the absence of courage. Just like darkness is the absence of light.
Sure.
So it's something evil. Why am I saying evil? Because sometimes when we are two, I can speak very well.
Sure.
That person who fears can speak to one person very well.
Exactly.
When the people are 2, 3, 4, they can still speak.
Sure.
But when they are 10, 15, 20, 25, they can't speak. But when you take one person each from the 100 people who they feared, and he speaks to one of them each, this person cannot fear.
Exactly.
So that means it's a very serious. I mean, that is to really have courage to speak and remove fear. But that only can be done through practice.
Exactly. Yes. Wow. Thank you so much. They say that fear stands for false evidence appearing. Really.
Yes.
So all the things that you're scared for, they don't actually exist.
False.
They're just false evidence.
Evidence appearing real.
Exactly.
So, sure.
Now, Dr. I've got 2 more questions, and I see the time is running out. But let me ask this: a student was asking us, they study hard. Students are told to study hard, and they actually study hard. But when the exam comes, everything they didn't study for comes, and what they studied for,
Yes. Yeah.
does not come.
Yes.
Okay.
Just to put it another way.
Yes.
That the students usually ask, I find everything in the exam that I have not studied.
Exactly.
That all the things I have learned do not come in the exam. It is like the examiner reads my mind.
Yeah.
So that they cannot ask the questions.
He's against me.
Or the areas I've never studied.
The examiner is planning for me to fail. So he asks the questions that I've not studied for.
Yes.
Yes. What's the problem?
One thing, first of all, it's not true that the examiner knows their minds.
Yes.
But it's a preparation problem.
Okay.
I would call that one preparation problem.
Mm-hmm.
That it still goes back to the 20-80% rule.
Yes.
But here I would want just to state that when you prepare well, you will be able to master all areas. And you will have more knowledge. You will be more knowledgeable. What that just that means is that this student who feels that the teacher has not set exams or questions from the areas they are not well conversant
with
is because they are not well prepared. They have little content.
Sure.
So that is a problem with content. That student has problem with content. They have not mastered. In fact, they would be accommodating only 10% of the content.
Sure.
So that is what they think. They think they know a lot, but in real sense, they have not really mastered content. If they can only solve that problem by mastering content, by applying the methods, because again, we still go back to methods.
Sure.
If a student does not have appropriate right methods,
yes,
they will always struggle to master content,
sure,
and they will waste time.
Exactly.
They will continue chasing the wind, which they will not find.
Sure.
You know, we call it rat race. You chase the wind that you will not find.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it goes back to the Pareto principle thing.
20-80%.
The 20-80% rule.
Yes. Yes.
Now, maybe the last question. Still related to that. If, for example, I have studied and what I studied didn't come in the exam. Yes.
And just during this time of 2021 national examination,
yes,
something was trending, and as a student was asking,
yes,
now that everything I've prepared for did not come in the exam, surely have I not wasted my mind or my brain? It is not true. I would want to say that we do not study for examination.
Yes.
Actually, it would be like only 10% of the reasons why we study is for exam. But 90% is that we study for knowledge.
Sure.
Knowledge for its own sake. So that we're able to become better teachers,
exactly,
better lawyers, better engineers, better people, better leaders. Because when you master content, you will be able to command.
Sure.
You will have authority. You become a good teacher. You become an expert in your field.
Exactly.
So most of the things that we study and do not come in the exam.
Yes.
I'm just telling you, as student, you students, you will meet them in the field.
Exactly.
After graduation is when you will meet everything,
yes,
that did not come in the exam.
Right. Read to understand. Whether it comes to the exam or does not come in the exam, still no problem. But the class we finish, you can be able to give us a party shot about your experience the last 10 years and what KCADOR is doing to be able to help students be able to solve the academic challenges.
Thank you so much. I want to thank you, and I want to thank the students who've been asking these questions. We say that finally, most of the students who ask most of the questions most of the time will soon outsmart most of the students who answer most of the questions most of the time. Yes?
Okay.
You get that? Very soon, most of the students who ask most of the questions most of the time will soon outsmart most of the students who answer most of the questions most of the time. This means that it is better to ask than to answer.
Exactly.
Now, I would advise everyone, I would advise schools, and I would advise students to embrace Socrates method.
Yes.
To embrace mentorship programs.
Yes.
I would want them to identify mentors, not necessarily KCADOR,
yes,
but I know there are many other mentors,
exactly,
who are like us,
yes,
who are doing very good to the schools, who are actually doing excellent job,
yes,
in the field. And I would want them to identify mentors who can be able to journey with them, KCADOR is there. You can still even talk to us. We journey with your school, we journey with your students, and be able to assist these learners who really need help.
Yes.
And when we do that, we embrace programs. You know, we cannot be telling students in assembly every day you work hard.
Yes.
And they can't change. If you are doing the same things the same way for all these years and nothing is happening in your school, you need to change the methods. You need to do things differently. And mentorship is the way.
Wow. Thank you so much, viewers. We want to thank you so much. This is KCADOR, Kenya Centers of Academicians, a diverse-oriented research, and our motto is investing in the brain. So we hope that in this session you'll be able to invest in the brain. Until next time, be good, keep safe, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you. Good. Thank you.
Asante sana.
Thank you and welcome. My name is Kiyeng Wilfred, the regional